What is a not fun fact? In Australia there is a plant called the gympie which has such a severe sting that horses who brush against it throw themselves off cliffs because they'd rather die than continue to experience the pain. Sloths only have enough energy for their weekly toilet trip to the jungle floor. If the baby falls from their underside in the trees onto the floor, they choose to preserve their energy and leave it to be eaten. Penguins rape the hell out of anything that looks vaguely penguin-like or doesn't move. In fact, it was so rampant that the 1910–13 Scott Antarctic expedition decided it was best not to bring it up so society wouldn't have to deal with the issue it would bring up. Scientists witnessed males having sex with other males and also with dead females, including several that had died the previous year. He also saw them sexually coerce females and chicks and occasionally kill them. The scientists blamed this astonishing depravity on hooligan males and wrote down his observations in Greek so that only an educated gentleman would understand the horrors he had witnessed. If a hamster gets too stressed, it will eat its kids. There is a genetic disease called FOP where your muscles and tissue turn to bone, often called human statue disease. Eventually people may have to decide whether they want to become frozen in a sitting or flat, standing position. The number one cause of death among pregnant women is murder. Horses can't throw up, so if they eat something bad or get a bad gas bubble, they just lay down and die. Urine was used for teeth whitening and bleaching of clothes in ancient Rome. Yes, they rinsed their mouth with human and animal urine. Cute, fuzzy little sea otters are known to rape baby seals to death. People with extreme scurvy start to have all of their old wounds open up. Everything with a scar is held together via an active process with collagen, and without vitamin C just sort of stop. The threat of a deadly bird flu spreading to humans is always there. It takes just a little bit of negligence in screening chickens for this to happen. It was once thought for birds, parrots, magpies, to learn to talk, you had to release their tongue. This was done by cutting their tongue completely or partly off. Of course without any anesthesia or painkillers. The tongue release plays absolutely no role in the bird's ability to talk. A man once had a tapeworm get cancer. That cancer metastasized, and the man died from tumors of tapeworm throughout his entire body. There are 8 unaccounted for American nukes and literally an unknown quantity of missing Soviet nukes that range all the way from warheads to suitcase bombs. There's a government-led genocide going on in northern Ethiopia right now. The reason you're supposed to contact a doctor if you have an erection lasting longer than 4 hours is because prolonged priapism can lead to gangrene of the dick. Blood goes in, deoxygenates, but can't leave, so there's no way for fresh oxygenated blood to come in, causing the tissue to turn black and die. Don't worry, though. This can be treated by using a big syringe to suck the trapped blood out. Despite being the largest mammal, blue whales do not have large assholes. They defecate with an anus the size of a grapefruit. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The First Land Before Time was murdered by her father before the movie came out. Her gravestone says yep yep yep. Most power outages in the US are caused by squirrels. Male dolphins like to hunt fertile female in groups and hound them because they are unwilling. The females are often injured during this. Some even die. Certain sleep disorders that cause you to act out your dreams are strong predictors that you're developing a neurodegenerative disorder like Parkinson's or Lewy body dementia. I wish I didn't recently learn about it. Not me. A loved one. Oftentimes when pandas have cubs, if they have more than one they will choose which one to keep and abandon the other because she can't care for 2. Grizzlies are the opposite. If they have a litter of just one, sometimes they'll abandon it and try to mate again the next year to try for a litter of multiple cubs. Sad face. Edited to add. Thanks everyone. Never thought these sad bear facts would blow up. To all the people saying pandas are obeying China's one-child law. This is true. Pandas are good law-abiding bois and gorals. To the person who gave me the Wholesome Award. Maybe rethink your priorities, haha. But thank you nonetheless. Also I think a cub exchange program between grizzlies and pandas is a superb idea. Let's get started on Growler for bear's winking face. You can have an aneurysm and die at any moment. A blue-ringed octopus. found in the Pacific, is a tiny and cute little guy. But one painless bite gives enough venom to kill 25 male adults. Edit. Changed sting to bite. Also note, as long as you are given medical attention within an hour of you receiving the bite, you'll be fine. The reason dogs love squeaky toys is because they sound like small animals dying. Bedbugs procreate by traumatic insemination. Males literally stab females with their genitals. So, just another reason to hate them then. There are more deaths due to mental health issues than all forms of violence combined. People are struggling. Rabies is terrifying. You can get it and not even know it from bats, which live across the globe. It might hit you right away. It might be in 3 years. But it doesn't matter because once symptoms set in, you're already dead. If two male flatworms meet, they will sword fight with their dicks until one loses. The loser will become female and they will mate. Valentine's Day is a holiday with one of the highest suicide rates. Migraines and strokes carry a lot of the same symptoms, so if you suffer regular migraines you may not notice you're actually dying one day. Spider, rain, you read that right, is a real and naturally occurring phenomenon. Greifswald Nuclear Power Plant, 1976. The almost Chernobyl of East Germany. In short, due to a short circuit resulting in a fire, almost all coolant pumps failed. The NY Times says, a Chernobyl-scale nuclear disaster was prevented only when a single water pump in the emergency cooling system was able to draw off pressurized water heated to high temperature by the decay heat left in the reactor's core, thus preventing a meltdown. This incident became public with reunification in 1989. Some of us will die in a few hours. During WW1 thousands of dogs were taken from families for the war effort, and when the war was over most of them were just shot because it was cheaper than feeding them for the trip home and finding their homes. Quokkas, the world's happiest animal, will throw their babies at attackers if threatened. Climbing Mount Everest has a 6.5% mortality rate. What's more harrowing is that if you die, you will most likely be left there. There's currently over 200 dead bodies on Everest that are irretrievable, and now serve as markers for other climbers. Not a bad place to eternally rest, but upsetting for those left behind who can't give you a proper burial. In countries that require you to opt in to organ donation, fewer than 15% of people register. In the US, an opt-in country, 18 people die every day waiting for an organ transplant. Opt-out countries see over 90% of their population registered for organ donation. Edit. Glad this started a conversation. Here's the source I used. The image that most people have of blobfish is based on a misconception. People think that's what they look like all the time, but blobfish adapted to live in deep waters. Which means the deeper you go, the more water pressure there is. Their bodies are not meaty like fish but more gelatinous because they adapted to the water pressure. If you accidentally pull them to higher levels but with less water pressure, their bodies don't handle it well. There's nothing keeping their bodies intact, so their bodies explode. Basically, every photo you've seen of a blobfish where they look big and pink and, of course, blobby is a photo of a dead blobfish. Merchandise and cartoons designed after what they look like dead. Hell, they're referred to as what they look like dead. You can smell your own lungs. Your brain just filters out the smell. Hitler admired America for the way we treated the Native Americans during the Trail of Tears. The search and rescue dogs on 9/11 were getting so sad from finding only dead bodies. The human helpers buried themselves in the rubble so that the dogs could find them and be happy. Sudden doomsday scenarios. Gamma-ray bursts, for example, aimed at Earth, even if occurring hundreds of millions of light-years away, could lead to the extinction of life on Earth. Some perfumes, or more specifically, musks you use, come from the anal and secretion glands of musk deers and civet cats. The lemmings are not suicidal, and the documentary What filmed it was actually showing lemmings getting thrown down a cliff because they needed the scene but couldn't make the animals do it. Dolphins who are sexually frustrated can gang rape humans. People who commit suicide by jumping off a bridge. Those who don't die from the impact drown because the impact breaks enough bones that prevents them from swimming. Air-breathing mammals like whales and dolphins might beach themselves because they got old, and it's better to die in the sunset than to drown at sea. Armadillos can carry leprosy and can pass to humans just by being in proximity. Kind of fits the mood of 2020-2021, one could argue. Scientists are saying more and more with each study that COVID is here to stay. It's endemic like the flu. COVID will mutate and we'll have new versions every single year for the rest of humanity. Likely. It's entirely possible that you care about more people than people care about you. There is a mysterious illness called the sweating sickness that hit in multiple small epidemics in the early modern era. It was incredibly contagious and massively deadly, with about a 50% average death rate. But it could be higher. It began with an ominous sense of apprehension, followed by severe pains in the neck and giddiness. They then abruptly stopped and switched to heavy sweating, headaches and delirium. Finally, the person was hit with an extreme urge to sleep, and it was thought to be fatal if you fell to it. We know almost nothing about it. Nothing about how it spread, how it was caused. Only that if you got it you were either surviving or dead within 24 hours. There are horror stories of people leaving town on hunting trips and returning the same day to find almost everybody in the village dead, with only a few scattered survivors. The worst thing was, you did not gain immunity. You could live through the sweating sickness once, and then get it a few days later and die. Or live through it 2 or 3 times, and then get it and die. It was horrific. And we don't know why it disappeared, and we don't know if it will ever return. Edit. I seem to be posting the wiki link a lot. So here it is. The youngest person to ever give birth to a baby was a 5-year-old little girl. When you get a sunburn, it's actually your cells dying so they don't get tumorous. Chronic wasting disease. Forgive me, I'm no expert. It's a prion disease. It's kind of like mad cow disease for deer. It's 100% fatal. The problem comes with the fact that prions cannot be destroyed. So the infected deer can urinate in a field, spreading this disease into the soil. Then into the foods we eat. It's been shown to infect some primates as well. So the risk of human transmission must not be ignored. Learning that last night definitely kept me from sleeping soundly. ETA. I'm no expert on this by any means. So if you have relevant info to add or I need correcting, please do so. Edit 2. If you are concerned by the spread of chronic wasting disease and the potential it has to impact human health, I advise you all to reach out to your representatives and let them know that you want more federal funding invested to support the surveillance and research of CWD. It's not yet a public health crisis, and it might never become one. But we have the opportunity to prevent it from becoming one. Also shout out to you, Foot Through a Window, for educating me in regards to this. There are Demodex mites crawling on your eyelashes right now. And there's nothing you can do about it. There exist in the world, at this moment, more juggalos than polar bears. Every day several hundred babies are born in withdrawal. Drinking urine used to be a popular activity in ancient times. Edit. Physicians used to describe urine as a remedy for a number of diseases till a recent time when scientists discovered that there is no evidence to support any beneficial health claims of drinking urine. What I meant is that it was normalized back then. Now it is practiced by few superstitious fanatics and porn weirdos. There is more slavery in the world right now than at any time in history. If you eat a polar bear liver, you will die. Humans can't handle that much vitamin A. In 2017, 10,000 people died awaiting their disability decision. YTF did I read these comments? Himalayan blackberries can allegedly grow under your skin. Every 41 seconds in the USA somebody kills themselves. Frogs don't feel love. According to the World Bank Group, the world produces about 2 billion tons of garbage every year. To make it into the richest 1% globally, all you need is an income of around $34,000. Free bubble wrap. Pop, 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 THX. Pop, 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 pop. First responders are always at least minutes away. And you can die in seconds. We operate fast-moving death machines and are often separated from other operating them by nothing more than an agreement not to cross a yellow line that someone else painted. The glaciers of the Antarctica shelves have melted, and continue to melt, at so fast a rate that even if we enacted radical and worldwide climate change laws today, it's going to take hundreds of years to recover them to their pre-industrial levels. We are currently 40 weeks into our 2-week lockdown. In the United States, roughly 1/3 of all food is thrown away each year. An 18-year-old can legally adopt a 17-year-old. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like. If you would like to see more content like this in the future, subscribe and turn on notifications to be notified about future videos. Now check out one of these interesting videos.